Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Greetings, Algo Artisans Cowboy here, and we are going to take a look at the usual suspects this week. But before we do, please take a look in the description. There's a link for a free algo. You get to see me build the algo. You get to see me turn it into code using Grok. And then I'll show you all the tools that traders use to connect their algorithm to their broker so they can trade while they're not even sitting at the computer. You do have to optimize it before you trade it. Other than that, it's pretty much plug and play. Let's go take a look at that. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the NASDAQ, USDJPY, EUR, USD, BTC, USD, GBPJPY, gold, and silver. And there is a unique aspect to this week as well, especially when it comes to gold and silver. Before we take a look at all of that, we're going to take a look at the economic data dropping this week that can affect the charts over at forexfactory.com. Okay, this is a short week. Monday was out, and as you know, I generally don't do videos until the first trading day of the week is over. So we get a post-Tuesday week. We had a little data come out earlier today that is now irrelevant. We have at 8 p.m. the New Zealand official cash rate, monetary policy statement. That's pretty big if you're trading the Kiwi. And the presser is an hour later at 9 p.m. EST. Wednesday, we have the FOMC minutes, and that is at 2 p.m. EST. Until then, there's not a lot of news. Now, a lot of times the FOMC minutes, which is just a review of the notes of the prior FOMC, where the Fed decided and announced their rate, sometimes that can move markets. It might be that tomorrow is slow leading up to that, and it might be that that makes some big moves in the market. It's been pretty quiet the last few FOMC minutes. We'll see what happens after that. Shortly after that, the Royal Bank of New Zealand Governor Bremen speaks. Wednesday evening, 7:30 p.m. EST, we have Aussie unemployment and employment data. Thursday, as usual, 8:30 a.m. EST, we have U.S. unemployment claims week over week. We have the RBNZ Governor Bremen speaking again, 6 p.m. EST Thursday. Friday at the European Open, we have retail sales month over month for the British pound. 3:30 a.m. EST, the European PMIs for the Germans. We have the British PMI at 4:30 a.m. EST Friday. Then we have U.S. GDP quarter over quarter and core PCE price index data 8:30 a.m. Friday. That's going to be big, probably. GDP quarter over quarter is big, and the PCE is actually what the Fed looks at for their rate decisions. Most people are always watching the CPI, but the core PCE is major. So Friday morning, 8:30 a.m. EST, an hour before the open, might be pretty huge. 9:45 a.m. we have the US PMIs, and then the data is done for the week. So the unique aspect this week is going to be that the Chinese New Year is closed. That's going to affect precious metals, and we'll get into that as soon as we head over to the precious metals charts. But for now, we're going to start with the NASDAQ. So we got some downward pressure on the NASDAQ for now. We have a lower bound at 24,200, and then we have an even lower support that's a bit older, that's going back to November, and that's at 23,900. Things are pretty slow right now, although Friday's news might be huge. For now, if there is no major surprise, I expect price to approach that 24,200. If it breaks below, you're looking at that 23.9. Now, it is the NASDAQ, and markets tend to get picked up whenever the right people decide. So if we do see some kind of a move up, your nearest upper bound is 25,460. If for whatever reason the powers that be decide that, okay, that's enough of the market going down, for the local area, like just the closest resistance is at 25,459. Let's move on to USDJPY. Big move down on the USDJPY, and it may be that we see a move up just because after a major move comes a retracement. Now, that retracement could go as high as 156,450, but there is significant downward pressure on that. So I don't really expect to see that move up here. Maybe not this week. It very well could break above. There could be news that's dollar strong. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's possible. Right now, I expect sideways action, slight bullish tilt, unless the move down reignites in earnest, which I do expect at some time for the move down to reignite. And it could happen this week. If it did, your lower bound is sitting at 152.03, and then the next level down is at 150.91. But I don't expect a lot out of the JPY. It's just going to have to be one of those, we'll see if this breaks out for now, because it is making a very stable consolidation around this area right here between 152.55 and 153.84, somewhere in there. Let's take a look at the euro. The euro continues to grind down. I predicted that last week, and I do expect it to maybe have a slight pop-up right now. I don't know if it's going to pop up this high, but it could pop up and then continue to grind down. It's not a very exciting currency to trade at the moment, just a lot of chop right now. It's been going up for months and months and months and months, and it seems to have tired itself out. Really, it's been going up since the beginning of 2025. So we're going to see, I think, some sideways action. Your upper bound, your top where price might is going to be at 119.29, and of course could break above there. I doubt that it will. Your lower bound where it might bounce is at 117.65. If it does happen to break below that, there's an older support sitting around 116.67. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. This went last week exactly as I predicted, which was not much going on. And I expect the same this week. Maybe a little bit of a bounce coming up, or at least sideways with a bearish tint. Now your lower bound is going to be sitting at 60,000, almost on the dot. Your local upper bound is about 72,400, right at the top here of this most recent move. I don't expect a whole lot. I mean, it could move, it could surprise you. A lot of things can happen, but this is what I expect right here. Let's take a look at GBPJPY. And again, more of the same. The Japanese yen is getting strong, and the British pound now is weaker than the US dollar. So I do expect this to grind down and to the right. Now we do have a support here. It's a little bit older, sitting at 206.77. Price could bounce there and go sideways, but ultimately I think it continues down. And the lower bound that I expect price not to go past this week is 205.31. So that's all subject to things changing, and there's a lot of data coming out for the pound this week, but that's what I expect to happen. Let's take a look at gold and silver. And now we get to discuss that downward pressure from the Chinese New Year. And what that means is that China's basically closed. Their markets are more or less closed for the next 9 days, right? Chinese New Year is usually 7 days or so. This year it's 9 days. And during that time, there will not be as much buying pressure for metals. Not a lot of bulls in there holding up the price of metals. China is the most massive buyer of metals right now, and they are shut down. So there's not a lot of bulls to hold up the price. And I think we will see gold and silver head down. Now, silver may hold above 46.50. It could just be kind of a nice slow grind down. We'll see. It might also be that large players take advantage of this lull in the bulls and actually crush price down somehow all the way down to 43.76. I don't expect that to happen, but as the week wears on, we'll see. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of big news coming out, and this could possibly happen. But if we just looked at the algos, knowing what's going on in the market, that's what I expect right now is a lower bound of 46.50 and price approaching that lower bound. And we'll see what happens as the week wears on. Remember, on Wednesday and Thursday in the morning, we reevaluate all this stuff and we reassess the markets as they're happening. Let's take a look at silver. Similar story. Lower bound here locally is 64.20. If price somehow just gets slammed down really hard, the area below, if price somehow gets slammed down really hard, say COMEX hikes up the margins again, or LBMA plays some games, then you have a nice strong support at 55. And that exists because of on the way up, we have some pretty strong support going back to October or so. That structure is still important at that point. So I don't expect it to go below 55. I really don't expect it to go below 64, but again, we could get surprised when the large players start to play their games. So that's what I see for this week. It looks like right now it's a pretty quiet week, but we do have a lot of important data coming out. So pay attention to our live shows. Like I said earlier, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 8:30 a.m. EST, we come on. If you have requests, leave them in the comments. I will be happy to chart those for you. Leave them in the YouTube comments. And what we do here at Algo Factory is we help people learn how to predict where price is going to go and when it's going to get there. And if they have this kind of information and they're able to do this in a scientific and systematic way, and they can develop a probabilistic model, a model that is correct a certain amount of the time, right? You know it's going to be correct 60 some odd percent of the time. Whatever amount that is, you can extract money from these markets. It's not that hard to do. I've taught people of almost all education levels how to do it. Even a high school education is plenty fine. Nothing is guaranteed. It is work. It's not get rich quick, but we teach people how to do that. At Algo Factory, we're very, very good at this. And we have up-to-date information on a lot of markets around the world, especially precious metals. We're also really good at geopolitics. So come on in over to algofactory.tech. There's a link in the description. If you get that free algo, you'll also be able to find us, or just simply go to our website, algofactory.tech. And remember, there is that free algo in the description. Click on the link. It's a video. I build an algo algo, turn it into code with Grok. I'll show you how the traders, professional traders, link their algos to their brokerage. It's actually not that hard to do. And while you do have to optimize it to trade it, it's otherwise pretty much plug and play. So check that out. Thanks for watching. Again, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8:30 a.m. EST sharp. Come and watch us. And if you have requests, let us know what they are. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.